Yeah, let's just say, guys, this is how you do good Scooby-Doo content, but this is not how you do good Scooby-Doo content.
Hello, citizens of YouTube land.
Hey,
It's your president and your VP. And well, today we've got Velma. Yeah. So, Velma is a 2023 show that premiered on January 12th, 2023. We watched the first two episodes last night. And it stars Mindy Kaling and some other people who I don't really know.
oh, and
So,
Frank Welker, don't forget about him.
yeah, and Constance Wu, I guess, is the voice of Daphne, and I guess I am kind of remembering some of it. Some guy named Sam voices Norval, who is actually Black Shaggy, and yeah, and Daphne is half Asian, and Velma is East Asian.
South
So,
Asian.
South Asian. She's actually Indian, basically. So, yeah. But that's not really the issue, guys. The race swapping is not really the issue. As far as we go. Um, First and foremost, I have watched Scooby Doo pretty much my entire life. Guys, I can tell you, I went and I watched a pup named Scooby Doo, and I've seen Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, and I've
Hex to the
seen
yes, the best Scooby-Doo show right there, by the way, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated.
Scooby Doo Where Are You? And I've seen Scooby Doo on Zombie Island. In fact, we did a review for it. Go back, check that out because
That was
it's
part of the month of Halloween horror sci-fi edition.
so yeah, guys, go back, check that one out because this one, oh God, is so bad.
Yes.
Now they say,
Listen, this is coming from a diehard Scooby-Doo fan who will watch anything Scooby-Doo related. But this is the kind of crap you're going to give us?
now they say, or they've already said it. Guys, you already know. Those of you out there in our viewing audience that have checked out the newer stuff out there, you already know because it happened with Rings of Power. It happened with the new Witcher series. It's happening with with Velma here. Which the biggest sin of Velma is no Scooby Doo.
Oh, yeah. Like, apparently this is supposed to be focusing on them before they got Scooby-Doo. But if
So
you remember in the Scooby-Doo timeline, there's a pup named Scooby-Doo when they were like 5 to 7 years old, and they have Scooby-Doo. So explain something to us, Warner Brothers. How are you going to fit Velma into the overall Scooby-Doo timeline? You're not, aren't you?
so as I was saying,
Mm.
they're claiming it's being review bombed. It currently has a critical rating of 50% on Rotten Tomatoes with an audience score, brace yourself, guys, 7. 7%.
Oh, yeah.
So, even the critics really don't like it, and the audience really doesn't like it. And as I've said, because you've already seen it, and when you say, "Hey, this isn't Scooby Doo. This isn't Velma. This isn't who she is." Oh, you're a racist. We're going there with this one, guys. You're a racist. You're a homophobe. You're an Islamophobe. You're an ISIS. You're this. You're that. You're white. You're a misogynist. We've all heard it. We've all bore the brunt of it, so to speak. So they're saying that it's review bomb. Well, guess what? Bombs away, baby, because let's get into the story. Okay, starts with Velma, and she's doing a little monologue about how things are uh, different and how this isn't your Velma, it's her story, and she's going to tell it the way she wants. And then the very first scene, guys,
They okay. So Daphne's supposed to go into the shower, right? And there's a cockroach, and then another one comes out, and then
They're performing an
there.
adult act. The cockroaches are.
Excuse me for being blunt, but they try telling a stupid sex joke.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for being blunt, but that's how they put it in the show. They're trying to tell a stupid sex joke.
And then Daphne says something, or one of them, I can't remember which because it doesn't matter. They're pretty much all the same.
Exactly.
Daphne or one of them says, "Hey, have you ever noticed how there are shows where there's lots of nudity and it's all gratuitous in the first episode and then it tapers off because, well, there's lots of nudity basically in this shower scene, which, mind you, is high schoolers. So they made this show and they say that it's for adults, but everyone talks like they're on Twitter. Everyone. Or they all talk like a TV writer would be talking.
Mm-hmm. And then they mentioned Riverdale, and it's like they're trying to do a Riverdale joke because Warner Brothers owns Riverdale. And it's like, bro, you're gonna make a joke about your own show, which is dying and it's going into its final
And the
season.
second biggest sin, not quite as big as the lack of Scooby, but the second biggest sin is Velma is completely unlikable, y'all. I'm going to put it quite bluntly. She's a bitch. Plain and simple. She's bitchy to everyone around her. Her dad, she's a bitch to. Her dad's girlfriend, she's a bitch to. Daphne, she's a bitch to. Fred, she's a bitch to. She is just full on insulting everybody. Now, listen.
I'm pretty sure the writers have not seen a single Scooby Doo episode.
And normally we wouldn't talk like this, but guys, that since they're trying to do adult, we'll adult it up a bit here. You
Yeah.
know, we keep it family friendly. Y'all know
But you
this.
know what? This is going to be the uncensored version, guys.
So this is full on. This is yeah. So like I said, and then they're like, okay, so that's Velma. She's a bitch and she's a know-it-all. And yeah, that's it.
Daphne.
Fred is a white rich white guy who they've made as the absolute epitome of evil. And
He hasn't gone through puberty yet.
yeah, they make jokes about him having a tiny little, well, you
Well,
guys know.
in the show, they say a tiny dong.
Yeah.
I'm not joking. In fact, I'll put a clip right here to give you the proof.
And so then there's Norval. Can't call him Shaggy for some reason. He's clean shaven. He's not scruffy like Shaggy. He does love food like Shaggy, but since people seem to think that Shaggy was some kind of stoner, if you will, that this character hates all drugs and won't. But guys, prediction: he's probably going to become a stoner because that's probably how it's going to go. Oh, and he has a crush on Velma. And at one point, he tells her this while they're trying to get the files to Velma's mom,
Well, she's
who,
having an hallucination, and she's straight up about to have a panic attack
because
like
every time she attempts to solve a mystery, she has a hallucination because her mom left, because her mom smoked cigarettes and wrote mystery stories. That's the gist of her mom, by the way.
Oh yes.
And that was her
And
first mystery, was figuring out that her mom smoked cigarettes. So that's where her love of mysteries comes from. So
insert clip here, and you'll know which one I'm going to put in, Dad.
so the mom feels guilty because Velma solved the mystery and figured out everything she was getting for Christmas ahead of time. So she leaves to go get a birthday or a Christmas present that she can unwrap on Christmas morning.
But then ditched her.
Yeah, disappeared.
Oh
I
yeah.
think she just left her because I think they also show that she's kind of a bitch to her mom too.
Even younger. Like I don't know, guys. I don't know how to feel about this show. This show just sucks. The characters suck. The story sucks. Everything sucks.
Now, what did we know about Velma beforehand? We knew that she was accident prone and could lose her glasses at any moment, was completely nearsighted, could not see without them, that she was often the brains and figured out who was behind the unmasking or who was behind, you know, the ghost or whatever, the vampire, whatever it is that they're dealing with at the time, right? And that and a pup named Scooby Doo, she's a super brainiac too, and she has a computer. And the phrase "jinkies" meant that she had found a clue.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. Like they try making a joke about Velma's hallucinations, which I take it as her getting schizophrenia from the trauma of seeing her mom leave her, which is like you're going to make a joke about one of the most serious mental illnesses, guys.
So,
Are you really that dumb?
in the midst of all this, Velma had come in during the shower scene, dressed up as something stupid. It doesn't matter. And it basically like shocks Daphne a little bit because apparently they were childhood friends who had a falling out. And there's unresolved sexual tension between the two, which we'll get to.
Oh God, don't remind me.
So Brenda was hiding in, was like shoved in Velma's locker, and then she falls out, and Brenda doesn't have a brain
Oh
somehow.
yeah. And then Velma's like, ah, she has no brain. She's like, I'm being serious though, she has no brain. And I'm like, the joke was dumb, guys.
And then they make a joke about, well, the word you would describe for a loose woman, someone, some kind of woman that's been around the block, so to speak.
Oh.
And they say that normally when one of those types of people gets offed, that when they're sleeping with the fishes, throw it back. When they're sleeping with the fishes, they deserve it. But Brenda was the rare case in which she didn't. So they eventually pinned the blame on Fred because he hasn't hit puberty, and Brenda had photographed him and his little member, and he was going to pay her off to keep quiet about it because that's apparently what rich people do, and I'm sure they do a lot. So that part's kind of realistic and accurate in a way that rich people get away with stuff. But as I said, they think that Velma did it, and then Velma points the finger at Brad. Then they prove that he couldn't do it because he's a helpless little man baby who has to have his food cut up for him.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget the fact that Daphne is somehow sells drugs.
Yeah, because she has two moms, does Daphne, and she deals drugs because she has to find out where she came from, and so that's something.
That's basically it. And don't forget about the
And
fact that
she enlists Velma at one point to help her with her drug dealing,
so that way Velma
and
could get
Velma
her.
is horrible at it.
Oh yeah. The only reason why she even enlists is so that way Velma could get her mom's cold case file.
That Daphne was going to get from her mobs for and sell it to her for $500. So Velma and Daphne, and we've kind of went through
So
a
okay,
bit of it.
so yeah,
So
Velma
they're at
has
the end of like basically the second episode.
yeah. Velma has another hallucination, about to have another panic attack because, let's face facts, that's what she's about to have, right? And Daphne, to get her out of her hallucination, straight up kisses her. Now, I'm thinking they probably read the joke script from James Gunn's Scooby Doo, right? And saw it, and they're like, yeah, let's make that happen. It was a joke, guys. Just insert the facepalm crowd scene. That's all I have to say. Just
This is by far one of the worst things I've ever seen. It's all the characters are completely unlikable. There's nobody to root for. I don't even know who the hero is. At this point, I think maybe Velma is the serial killer.
oh yeah, I forgot. Apparently, there's a serial killer running loose, and they think it's Velma. So because apparently Scooby Doo needed a serial killer.
And I don't know. So, and look, here's the thing. I'm going to go through some of the stuff that, as far as Scooby Doo media is considered poor, if not bad. And I'll say that each of these things that I'm about to list are far better than Velma. Number one, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo,
Hey,
which
how dare
has,
you? That's actually a
well, it
good
has
show.
Scrappy in it, and that brings it down because most people hate Scrappy.
Yeah.
The live action prequels are better than Velma.
Oh God. Don't get me started on those.
You know it to be true, though.
I think the only exception we can make that there's only something that's even worse than Velma is Scooby Doo Return to Zombie Island because there's no reason that should have ever existed. I'm sorry. Even still, after we've done a review, that stupid movie still pisses me off.
um,
That's one of the only movies other than this stupid show to get my blood boiling, guys.
Scoob is better than Velma.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like Scoob. I've never seen it, but I've heard a lot of people don't like it. But I'm just saying,
I've yet to see Scoob.
it is better than Velma. Literally any other Scooby Doo media is better than Velma.
Except for Return to Zombie Island, because that has no right for existing.
Well, again, you know who mucks that up? Who can't let it go? Who can't accept the fact that what happened was supernatural? Velma.
But again, still,
when we all witnessed it. But that, if you want to know more about that, go back and watch that one, guys.
Yeah. Real quick though, many people just recently, Warner Brothers released Trick or Treat Scooby Doo, which is a sequel to the original show in which Velma is bi. I have one problem with that though. Or which Velma is supposed to be a lesbian. I have one problem with that one, and even in this show, where Velma is supposed to be a lesbian because she is,
who might also have feelings for Fred, just so you know.
Yeah, but I have one problem with both of those. Velma has hooked up with many guys in the past. Not limiting to one Sam Winchester from the Scooby Doo crossover, mind you. which is supposed to be canon to the original show. And yet Trick or Treat Scooby Doo has her crushing on a girl because she was supposed to be a lesbian this entire time. So explain that one, Warner Brothers. I have no problem with the movie because I have seen the movie. The only problem I have with it is the fact that it has lazy writing.
You can't just go and change things for your own benefit. Now, Mindy Kaling, you'll probably never see this. But listen, and this goes for anybody out there as well. Create your own stuff. If you want to do a dark adult series about solving mysteries, go for it. What's stopping y'all from creating your own original characters?
Because Scooby Doo is a more recognizable IP, which they can benefit off of.
You mean
That's
leech off of? Is that
yes,
what you mean? Not
yes,
benefit, but leech?
leech off of, gives them more money and more views.
Yes,
That's your simple answer. It's all about the money.
yes, but okay. Let's go a different direction for a second, guys. You don't even have to not have gay characters in your films or your TV shows. Those of you who know that we recently watched The Whale, which is about a gay obese man, and it is very powerful film. It is very good. And the reason why is not because of the fact that the man is gay, but the story that he goes through. And those of you who know that we reviewed Holiday Heart a few years back, which is the story about a gay man who takes in a drug addicted mother and her daughter. And I'm convinced that it was a gay cross dressing angel that helped them. This is what the movie basically showed me. So that's what I believe. So, like I said, it doesn't even have to do with that. It doesn't have to do with the race swapping. What it has to do with is being compelling characters with logical point A to point B and a point C. Because, listen, listen for all you creators out there who want to do stories and TV shows and movies and comic books and all that. And granted, we haven't really done any of that, but we have our own medium. We've created our own YouTube show.
Of
This is
course.
us. This is what we do.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to that stuff, though, listen, there has to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. If you don't have those things, you don't have a story.
No. And real quick, Velma is a bad show. We all get that, right?
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe it might become better with later episodes. I highly doubt that though, because if the first two episodes are anything to say about what the rest of the series is, oh God help us all.
Yeah.
Anyways, Velma's a bad show, and it's like I said, they probably did this show with a dark adult um, thing because it's like, oh, it's Scooby Doo, it's a recognizable property. We can just leech off of that and make money off of it. But you're just tarnishing the name of Scooby Doo. That really, you would have to come out with a freaking miracle of a movie for Scooby Doo or TV show for that matter for it to ever come back from this show.
Well, I don't say that. I think that the Scooby Doo IP is iconic, but on the same hand, I do somewhat agree with you. You see, but the thing of it is, though, they say, well, I need to be able to see myself in these characters. Well, what are you even talking about when it comes to that? That even though they're different skin colors than you can't relate to Velma's nerdiness. You couldn't relate to her being nearsighted. You couldn't relate to her love of mysteries.
You couldn't relate to Fred's love of traps or the mystery machine. You couldn't relate to Scooby and Shaggy's appetite or anything. You couldn't relate to Daphne's beauty. I mean,
And her
come on,
girliness,
and her
because she
girliness.
is
Yeah,
kind of girly, and that's okay.
with her being a damsel in distress in the earlier series, like they have clear cut characters, and they go off of that.
Well, it's true that the original TV show didn't have much characters, so to speak, other than they were just a group of teenagers. But they did later flesh things out as this moved on. But my whole point and my suggestion to all of y'all, if you ever want to do things like that, just create your own stuff. If it is good, people will read it, they will watch it, or they will listen to it.
And also, one more thing, you can do you can do a more darker toned Scooby Doo. In fact, they've done it in the past to much success. Zombie Island, anyone?
Mm-hmm. Witch's Ghost.
But yeah, and Witch's Ghost. Those are really good. That's how you do a darker tone Scooby Doo stuff. But Velma It's not how you do that. That's how you do the complete opposite. Just because it's supposed to be more adult, the jokes become more immature than anything else.
He's right. I would argue that what's that one show? Big Head. That's who they're trying to.
Big Mouth.
Yeah, Big Mouth. That's who they're basically emulating. Is Big Mouth. But let's get into the rating finally, guys. Negative all the stars in the universe. What say you?
I have to do the same thing, guys. Negative all the stars in the universe.
It is by far the absolute worst Scooby-Doo IP out there. By far. With maybe the exception being Return to Zombie Island.
Because that has no excuse for existing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
However, as always, if you have seen Velma and you believe that it is the best Scooby-Doo IP of all time, well,
oh my God, have you seen what Zombie Island, guys?
or Mystery Incorporated, or Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Or
What's New Scooby-Doo? Scooby-Doo, Where's My Mommy? Scooby-Doo, Pirates Ahoy? Scooby-Doo, The Monster of Mexico? The list goes on and on.
So, but hey, as always, just remember, we're just two idiots with a webcam. Our opinions do not matter, except they actually do, because we have a YouTube show, except they actually don't. So having said all that, guys, stay tuned next time where we'll have a cleansing palette, so to speak, where we're going back to War Movie Month, and it's going to be 1917. So until then, there's only one thing left to say because we got to wrap this up very, very quickly. And that is peace and love from Denny and Son. Bye.